snafu on the live stream, but thank you all for joining us. I'm Philip Grossman. I'm the Vice President of Solutions Architecture for Digital Glue and Creative Space. And this is our overview of what's new with 305. I'm going to do my best to answer questions as we go. I can see the chat, and it may take. Cannot hear me. 1 second. Microphone. Everything is. All right, now you should be able to hear me. Had a little snafu here. Sorry about that. I'm Philip Grossman, the Vice President Solutions Architecture. Hopefully everything will be going smooth now. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me. Had my mic muted. Someone want to give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you can hear me. And I'll keep going from there. All right. Yeah, perfect. You can hear. Great. So let's get started. So we're going to go over what's the latest functions and features that we have released in our most recent version of 3.0.5 of the Creative Space platform, which some of you may have already been upgraded. Many of you will be upgraded over the next week or two as our team is rolling out this update. All right, so we will go over to look at the first feature. So the desktop UI has been updated a little bit from our older version, but we will go into within our spaces. You will now see on files that are capable of review and approve, we have our brand new video review system. So you'll see a new icon that supports MPEG-4 as well as MOV files, and we'll be adding more formats as well for the review and approve. But you'll see this new icon here. When you click on this, it'll bring up the review and approve window. At any point in time, you can come in, scroll your mouse to the location you want to, add a comment. This is a great shot. Create that new thread, and it will generate a thread. Then other people can come in here and add additional comments. You can scroll through, add as many comments as you want. Another great shot. And as you're going through and adding as many markers, this is me in the hangar. As you play through the markers, you'll see the content on the left-hand side where when it hits a marker will highlight, showing you what marker's on. So you can actually see interactively what's going on within that marker. I could always come in here and edit the comment if I needed to. I can reply to a comment. You're right. You're right. This is a great shot. Post reply. And then, of course, from a reviewing standpoint, I can come in here and approve it, or I can reject it, or I can delete the marker altogether. Again, available across any of the clips that you have on your system. And then once you have gotten all of the review and approve done, you are able to export the markers as an Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, and we'll be adding Final Cut shortly to the system. Someone had asked about how, to share this for somebody to review and approve. You can go ahead and click the link and send that to someone on your team, just like you could share before. We've been asked about sharing externally on the system. That is actually coming in early 2026 through our reverse proxy. So you will be able to share links externally to non-Creative Space members, people who are not within your organization. You'll be able to share that link via a PIN code or a username and password, or what's known as a pre-signed URL, which will allow them access, and you'll be able to also set a period of time for how long that link is available. As I mentioned, this is phase one of the video review system. We will be rolling out an additional capability shortly where you'll be able to add multiple videos to a room and then invite people to that room, which they'll get a notification that they have a video to review or comment on. Again, will be included in the system, no additional charge. Once you are all done, I will show you a come over here to my other system, and I've already done a bunch of comments on this one, you'll see. So it's a fully commented. I can go ahead and download the markers. I'm a Resolve editor, so I'll download the markers. So I've now downloaded to my desktop. So there is my set of markers. And if I go into my Resolve project, you go into Resolve to your timeline. Under timeline, you will go into import timeline markers from EDL. It'll bring up a window. In this case, I'm going to select these markers, and then it's going to bring those in. And now within my project, all of the comments from our video review system now show up within your project. So you don't have to go bouncing back and forth with with our system for the video review and approve. Let's see. Just review, commenting, or downloads. So that pre-signed URL or reverse proxy solution will be not just for review and approve, but for any files within your system as well. And we'll be rolling out those components beginning of the year, Q1, Q2 timeframe on that. So you will be able to share not just the review and approve, but any video within the system. And you may even be able to, depending on how you want to access, be able to share out the libraries as well. So those are who may not be familiar with the libraries in our tagging system, you have a fifth user type within our solution known as a client, and you can assign a client a role to somebody, and then they can actually log in now with this review and approve, with this reverse proxy model and access. So we've been listening to the customers and doing our best to roll out as many of these functions as possible. So that is the video review system. That'll be again rolling out in 3.0.5. Next up on the list, we have added full integration with Archiware to our solution. So those who may not be familiar with Archiware is the third-party software for managing archives and LTO libraries. Within our model of archive should always be an automated process. So we work with our customers and configure the Archiware software, which runs on a creative.space server that your LTO attaches to. We set those archives up to be automated. So in other words, you'll create a space that is an archive space or multiple spaces. And then anything you move into that space will automatically be archived. We believe that process should be automated. That should not require human intervention. Now, retrieving of content from an archive, it can't be automated because you never know when you want to get that content. So in our solution, what you'll see now is if you have the archive enabled, you'll see an archive tab. The archive tab will show you the space and then any of the folders that you have archived in that space, and any of the files. So you'll see your entire file list. Now I could come in here and just retrieve or restore a single file, or I could retrieve and restore an entire folder. Both ways work. When you go and you do a restore, it'll ask you where you want to place that file. So I'm going to go ahead and place it in my project demos folder. Choose that folder, hit next. If you have a library with multiple tapes, if the tape is in the library slot, there will be a green dot indicating that the tape is available and you can restore right away. If the tape is not in the library, that dot will be red, indicating that the tape is offline. It's on the shelf. And again, our goal is always to make it simple for our customers. So you come over here to this little icon, click copy, and this will copy the entire pre-designed message that you will then paste into an email and send it to your IT department to put the tape in. It will tell them the exact tape, the ID, the barcode, however you will have your system organized. That will be built into the system so that you don't have to guess what the tape number is or get the wrong number. They will have a pre-written message that you just copy and paste in your email. The IT department places that tape in there. You can just hit restore and walk away. Or you can wait until they get you a message back saying that the tape is back in the library, in which case you'll just hit the refresh button and you'll see it go green, and then you hit restore, and that file will be restored from the tape back to that location in which you asked it to be restored. So that is, again, our latest integration with Archiware, and we'll be continuing to build out more and more features from the Archiware platform into our solution for archiving. Next, we're going to talk about multi-space tagging. So, those who have been on version 3 or earlier versions of 3 will know we have libraries where you can do tags, and the tags are based on the spaces. So you'll see here now I can actually select multiple spaces to look at one time, and again that will be based on what your permission set is as to which spaces you can view. And then I have the ability now when I create a container, or excuse me, a category. Remember, we have sections and categories. Sections are the highest bucket, and sections contain categories, and categories contain the actual tags themselves. So in this case, I can create a new section. We'll call this one technical data. And you'll see I can say all spaces, or I can select the actual spaces that I want this set of tags to be a part of. So let's say we're just going to put these tags here. And now I add that section. And then you're able to add more tags. So in this one, onboarding, if I wanted to add a new tag, I literally just click on the, whoops, not category, click on new tag and enter a new tag. So this is what we call onboarding. This is where you may have a space where you bring content into and you want to sort through it. So we want to make sure that graphic design has seen the tag. And then if I hit return, I'm now ready to add another tag. So we'll add management review. Oops. Management review. And then I can just hit the checkbox here, or I can hit return. And then as soon as I'm done, I hit X out. And now all my tags are here and I can use those. And of course, those who may not be familiar with how you use a tag, I can come into any space where those tags have been assigned. I can go to an individual file and choose tags. And I can see all the tags that I have available to me or that are assigned. I can click Baikonur, I can click Uzbekistan, and legal has been complete and audio has been complete. And now that content has been tagged. Or at the folder level, I can come up here and choose tags. And then I can pick a tag, let's say legal complete, and that will tag the entire set of documents and files and folders underneath with that tag. A couple other things that we've added to our tagging capabilities, you'll see now I have the ability on a file to export the metadata. So I can export out an XML file all of the media info and EXIF tool information that are associated with that file. You now also have the ability at the folder level to export tags as a sidecar. So if you set up a bunch of tags in one space and you want to move them to you moved a bunch of files to another space, you can actually export the tags as an XMP and then import them in the other space. So now tags are portable between spaces or between other solutions. So if you have Lightroom and you're doing tagging with Lightroom, or if you have another system, MAM system, you have the ability to get that tagging information out. But it's primarily also used for when you are backing things up to our tape library through Archiware, you remove the file from the system and it no longer has the tags associated with it. This enables us to export those tags and have the tags ride along with that data on the tape library. So when you bring the files back, all your tags come back as well within the system. So that is our multi-space tagging that is now available. And as I mentioned before, within the libraries, if I set up a set of tags or a category, and I want to make that category, section available to multiple spaces. Right now it's all spaces, but again, I could set and add any space I want specifically for those tags or make them all spaces. And that just shortens the process so you can create a universal set of tags and apply them to every space, and then you can set up individual separate sets of tags within each space, so giving you, again, a very granular way of doing your tagging within our system. Let's see. Let me see what questions. If proxies are enabled for the archive, will the proxies and image preview shown here as well? And only the proxies Yes, so the proxies will stay within the ArchiWare, so those get transported as well, which is actually a good segue into a couple of the back end things that we've been doing in this system. So we have enhanced our metadata process, so the backend metadata processing capabilities have been improved within the system, as well as the caching of the thumbnails for faster performance and support for thumbnail creation on a bunch of new file formats like InDesign, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Visio, and ebook files are also available now within this system, and we'll be continuing to add more files formats into the system as well. All right. So our next big feature is creative space, or camera to creative space. So within our system, we now have the ability to do S3 gateways. So an S3 gateway, so those who aren't familiar with S3, it's object storage. That is what all of your camera to cloud and other solutions look for. So in our creative space, we've now enabled an S3 gateway. So what that means is external devices can now point to your storage and they'll see it as if it's an S3 gate, an S3 bucket, a regular object store bucket. Again, that's what camera to cloud. We developed this in conjunction with Red Digital Cinema. So again, object store does what's called puts and gets. Now the reality is it still blocks storage on the other side. So as soon as that file hits the storage, you can very easily start editing that file. So I'll show you real quick, and we've even made it very, very simple for you to set up your camera equipment as well, and I'll go through that process real quick. So you have an access token and an access secret. You can think of the access token as username, and the access secret is the password. I can have as many spaces as I want enabled as S3 buckets. And we even have the ability, when you click on this icon, it will download a zip file with all of those data elements specifically for Red Digital Cinema, but it can be used for other cameras as well. And to give you an example of how that works, I'm going to go over to this space. This is my camera to cloud space. I am going to fire up my Komodo. So this is the web UI for those who aren't familiar with Red cameras. This is the web UI. Within the Red camera under communications, you will set up your connection. In this case, I'm using Wi-Fi. I would suggest if you're going to do camera to cloud on any device that you don't do Wi-Fi, do it as a network connection. The performance speeds are better. Once you've got your camera connected, you'll go under your, let's see, where is this? Communication systems. Let's do communications, cloud upload, and then in the upload, you'll be able to set your S3, and you'll also be able to see when clips are playing. And so in this case, I'm going to go ahead. I've already configured my camera. I'm going to hit start. I'm going to record a couple seconds. Then I'm going to hit stop. And you'll see down here that it will start transmitting those files to the storage and how long it's going to take you to get to that storage. And when it's all done, you will see, do a quick refresh, there is the folder from the Komodo and the file from the Komodo, the card, and then the actual file itself. It's still downloading, so you won't see the image. So that is our camera to cloud. So there are a lot of other third-party software that needs or can utilize a S3 gateway when you're accessing systems. And so any system that's looking for an S3 gateway can now access your storage via that same S3 gateway. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Okay, and as I mentioned, we have expanded our support with our file inspector for the thumbnail creation and a lot of caching, a lot of back-end stuff now, so the systems will be snappier. We also have added support for more models of the Blackmagic HyperDeck. So within the ingest tab, you can add HyperDecks. So you'll be able to add more versions of the HyperDeck. We've enhanced our search functionality across the board within the system, and better filtering options enhance performance. As I mentioned, enhanced metadata processing on the back-end processing. And then around our user authentication and permissions, we've also increased the capabilities and made it more granular control over user access to resources within the system itself. So those are the major things that we've added on the backend system. Within the desktop UI, we've done a couple interesting things. You can now grab and drag and drop from the desktop UI to your desktop with copy, and as well as grab files and upload an entire folder through the desktop. A couple enhancements we've made within the desktop to make your life easier. You'll see this SMB performance mode. If you are a Mac-based user, Apple, with the release of 15.4, modified the way the SMB protocol works from a performance perspective, and we were seeing a lot of performance degradation, not getting more on a 10 gig link, getting about a gig and a half, and it was because Apple had made this change and really not notified anybody. So what we've done is built into our system. You check that box, and we'll automatically check to see how that setting is set on your machine, and if it needs to be updated, it'll automatically update it. It's a command line element, and so you'll be back to full performance. Again, these are the kind of things that we like to add into our systems to make your life easier, as well as this default handling for drag and drop. You are actually able to grab a file from our desktop UI and drag it directly into Premiere or directly into Resolve. Premiere had a bit of an issue, especially with files like the red files, which are a folder. If you were to drag them, just like you drag them in from the Finder, it shows up as a folder instead of as an actual element. From our desktop UI, if you drag from the desktop UI directly into Premiere, a red file, it will show up as a video stream as opposed to a folder. So again, those are the kind of things that we've been adding to try and make things easier for you, our customers. Does tagging function have supported API endpoints? So all of our entire back end system is driven by an open API. So anything that we're doing in the web UI, you can do through the API, as well as anything you see us doing on the desktop will also be accessible within that API. So that it is going to enable further integration. One of the questions we had sent in early was N8N integration. We will be looking at providing N8N integration to simplify further connection to other pieces of software and systems that a lot of our customers have, and that should be rolling out second quarter, I believe, second, third quarter of next year, and we'll be obviously demoing it at NAB this year. And then, like we do with a lot of customers, you can be an early beta tester and get access to some of these features early as well.